move away from the Delhi news to other news that is, hitting the headlines. And now social media channels and OTT websites have been warned to follow the code of ethics, which have been prescribed in the IT rules, and ensure critical self-regulation, as well as implement access control for A-rated, that's adult-rated content, to avoid children consuming inappropriate content. Now, this notification from the Information and Broadcasting Ministry today comes amid the massive row over obscene remarks which were made by podcaster Ranveer Allahbadia during an episode of a stand-up comedy show, India's Got Latent. This was a show that was popular on YouTube. The episode in question was on YouTube till the government ordered its removal. Now, that entire issue, remember, has become very big, with several BJP-ruled states even filing cases, and the matter going to the Supreme Court as well. In its notification today, the government stressed that the law requires OTT platforms to not transmit any content which is prohibited by law and undertake age-based classification of its content. Well, to talk more about this, we're now joined by Girish Vankade, film and OTT trade analyst, and Amitabh Kumar, co-founder Contrails AI and founder Social Media Matters. Thank you so much both for joining us. Girish Vankade, first to you, your comments on this notification that the government has put out, and what does this really now mean for content on OTT and on social media platforms?
We welcome this regulation by government. Obviously, there was need of this. I personally, and we, the creative people in cinema, we never like any embargo, any restrictions, any censors. We hate that. But when anything goes too far, if it stretches too high, then there is need of some embargo. So obviously, we welcome that. But yes, there will be a creative people who are making the content, creative content creators, who need to have self-discipline, about self-regulatory team should be there. We should work on their own content, and they should take the entire space in a more responsible way. When a government intervenes, it simply means that you have spoiled the space. So that entire disturbance in the space has been because of some people who has taken it for granted.
All right,
So
let me get
for
Amitabh Kumar as well. And isn't there a worry here from, for creators, that artistic license, there could be some interference in that? Amitabh Kumar?
Well, certainly. Firstly, what Girish said, I completely agree with it. A couple of facts of nuance. So, we have clubbed broadcasting, OTT, social media, and theatrical viewing together. These are very different mediums,
Yes.
and the way content comes in is extremely different. The current debate is on social media, which is primarily crowdsourced. And one thing also needs to be remembered, this is private viewing. The viewer, by choice, views it. What the government is saying is absolutely correct. There should be age verification, and content should be age-gated. And I think broadcasting, OTT, and theatrical viewing does it already very well. Social media is also trying. YouTube Kids is there. But nonetheless, when content is crowdsourced without any filter, then some garbage can go through, but there can be also outrage against the garbage. So what has happened in that particular podcast, the outrage also happened on social media. So there are both sides which have to be respected. I think the government has been very clear that it does not want to be in the creative space. Certain guardrails are required in society, but they should just be guardrails. They should not be getting into too much detail. I don't think any filmmaker, any creative person, or even the government themselves don't want to be in that business. But when it comes to social consciousness, and if there is a public outrage, the government is elected representatives. Having said that, adults in India can still decide what to watch. There is, we are old enough to know what to watch, and we should be able to decide that. I don't think the government is going there. I think it's more about children and what they should be viewing. And social media needs to think about what is it showing to children. And this is not an India-specific issue. This is a global issue. Starting with Australia, 20 countries have come in and talked about age assurance.
No, absolutely. But Girish Bankade, again, coming back to you in terms of implementation, when we say that age-appropriate content and, the children shouldn't be exposed to this, how does that actually work when you talk about, OTT or YouTube? There, of course, you can, subscribe to the YouTube and for children and not for the adult YouTube. But it also then comes back to the responsibility of society and parents as well.
Yeah, of course, it goes with the content creators. It has to have more guidelines with every content, and content creators are very clear that which elements they are catering to, whether they are catering to big screen or television or OTT. We had been doing television for so many years, but there were never such fiascos. There were never such problems. But now with OTT, it is more of internet. It has got more penetration. It has got more freedom. It is accessible to almost everybody. So then it becomes a very big responsibility of content creators also to make it sure whom they are catering. Secondly, on the other side, the consumer, he can access anything. So it is up to him what he wants to watch. If he doesn't like, he has to just leave it. So obviously, it's from both the ends, and to implement it, there will be certain parental guidances, and there will be the way US functions on OTT and social media. The same way, we should also have certain parental guidance, and all those notifications according to which we can have a child lock system, and there are several things which can be implemented if you want to adhere to the embargoes or the restrictions.
All right. And finally, Amitabh Kumar, any concerns about this? You were speaking, about how certain guardrails are needed, but it should not go beyond that. And as you said, you can choose not to watch something if it's something that, may offend you, because that also is very subjective. For example, even this latest controversy that happened around this show, let's face it, it was something that, you could subscribe to and watch it. Yes, it was very, outrageous and it has been condemned by so many people. But beyond that, it's become a massive controversy with cases being filed, having to approach the Supreme Court as well. So your comments on that?
Yes, I'll start with, internet is a democratic medium, especially social media. It does not get popular without people watching it. So that is part number one. Part number two, it is extremely important to understand that is there awareness amongst the users that parental controls exist, community guidelines exist, because companies actually invest a lot. But where more needs to be done is in user education, where internet is a choice. It is not being forced upon you regardless, but it's only a choice if you are aware. As far as the cases of the government go, and I think it's definitely been blown out of proportion. These guys are comedians who went overboard, and the people reacted to it. People cancelled it. You get cancelled on YouTube far quicker than in the courts of India. So I think their natural justice has taken place. When it comes to guard railing, let's make sure it is very transparent. The benchmarks are clear, and we have put out laws after speaking to stakeholders. It should not be a knee-jerk reaction. We also need to ensure that the business of content creation, all these influencers who are coming out of small town of villages of India, they also need to be promoted. There is a whole creator economy which is also at stake. Garbage cannot be allowed on the internet, but good content, and there is a lot of good content. I think 90% of content coming out of India is brilliant. And things that are coming on Netflix and OTTs are beautiful. Some of them are also winning Oscars. So there is a lot of good happening. The 5 and 10% of garbage should not kind of overview it, would be my 2 cents to this.
All right. Well, thank you so much both for joining us on the program, and the reactions thereafter. The center has warned social media channels and OTT websites about the code of ethics and saying they should self-regulate. Thanks so much. With that, we'll slip into a short break. More news coming up on the other side. Do stay with us.